back to the G.B.B, guys. Jay once again, and I got Shans on the line with me. Shans, what up?
What up, man?
Not good. Manchester United have obviously lost the derby 3-1 to Manchester City. And we're back to the Manchester United that we've been this season so far. Conceding 3 goals, scoring 1, not bad. But here we go again. And all the negativity is going to creep straight back in, and the talk's going to start again. Obviously, no one really expected us to win this game. Obviously, going up against the champions, who are in such fine form, undefeated this season. It was an uphill battle, I think, pretty much from the time we finished the Juve game to being ready for this game. And with Paul Pogba not starting, it obviously puts another nail in the coffin. Shans, the result, let's just talk about what that result means, what it means for our season. Where do you think we go from here, man?
Look, the result wasn't great, but we've got to put perspective on this whole thing. City are incredible. City are at the moment just miles ahead and above of most teams in the world as it stands. So disappointed that we didn't get the win because what that could have meant for us, the belief that brings not just the fans but the players. But honestly, it was one of those games where we sort of we were very hopeful for a win, but it was a reach. It would have been a reach. So 3-1, not great. We could have stopped a few of those goals going in, or just on the whole play better. But what can I say? Manchester City are just far too good for any team, not just United.
Yeah, I agree. And I think the biggest difference in the teams is obviously the amount of quality that they have. Yes, Manchester United have quality players, but City just have quality in abundance all over the field. They got players like, Silva, Fernandinho, Aguero, Sterling, the list goes on. They obviously, and was very, pertinent in the game, Manchester City play to a style of football. They play beautiful, passing, simple stuff. Things that we couldn't even do, on the base level in the midfield. Herrera really had probably one of his worst games. But I think that pretty much spread to everyone in the team. I think, again, the only bright light in our squad, Martial, obviously playing the ball through for Lukaku. Lukaku gets fouled. We get a penalty. Martial steps up and puts away the penalty. It's consecutive games for him scoring and being one of our best performers. We said in the pre-game that if David De Gea is on his game, we've got an opportunity. We didn't give him the opportunity to be on his game. The defense was absolutely shocking. Every single one of those 3 goals were because of defensive mistakes, was because of not picking up your man, was because of not playing basic football. I think it was the third goal when Gundogan scored that goal. He was in acres of space. Matic was standing right in front of him. And as soon as the ball was played, he pretty much planted his feet and looked back to watch Gundogan score that goal. I reckon he could have, changed his shirt, taken a selfie, posted on Instagram, liked it himself, and then scored that goal because he had that much time. The other 2 goals, pretty much the same. Defense switches off. Gundogan plays another 1-2 with Aguero. Aguero absolutely smashes the ball into the roof of the net. David De Gea, I think that's probably the only one of the 3 that I think could have done better. The ball pretty much went straight through his hands. He could have tried to push it over the bar, but he sort of reached for it and it went straight through his hands. We can pretty much at this point in the season and based on what he's done for us this season, I suppose he probably gets one mistake in all that time. that we can't hold against him, because the rest of the time he's pretty much been the one that saved us. Bar him and bar, as I say, Martial, there was really no one else. Paul Pogba not playing, Fellaini coming in, Herrera had an absolutely shocking game. Matic wasn't much better either. And then obviously the question comes back to that defense that we have. Ashley Young absolutely marshaled, had no response for anyone coming at him. Luke Shaw didn't do too badly, but obviously allowed Aguero to get in behind him a number of times. He let Sterling cut in, because Sterling obviously plays on that left-hand side, but always cuts in. Young gets left stranded on the left-hand side, or the right-hand side, and they get a clear opportunity to come in and take a shot. The opportunities were there for them to blow out that scoreline in the first half. The fact that we went to halftime only 1-0 down, I had confidence that we could probably overturn the deficit, or maybe even come away with a draw. It's always going to be hard going to the Etihad and trying to get a result, but we just didn't have it in our locker today. And Paul Pogba not even being on the bench, sitting in the stands, that really hurts us as well. Because I don't think there's anyone else in the squad that can do the job that Paul Pogba does when he's on his game. I would have definitely have said not to start Fellaini. Herrera probably a shout to come in. But I think Fred should have been given the opportunity to maybe play that, that type of role that Pogba has been playing. Yes, they're not the same type of player, but he's got that bite, he's got that aggression, he's got that ability to pass the ball, which is something that Herrera, who I had a lot more faith in to be able to make those short passes, would have been able to do it. Jesse Lingard is culpable for one of the goals, obviously not controlling it, which pretty much David De Gea's clearance didn't give him much of an option but for the ball to drop behind him and try and drag it out from underneath his body, but wasn't able to do it, and then Aguero punishes us. There's a lot of individual mistakes and a lot of defensive mistakes that led to that scoreline, and unfortunately, it feels like a repeat of where we were before the Everton game. We obviously had that belief that beating Everton, beating Bournemouth, and obviously the surprise in getting the win against Juve could have given us a bit of a push to be able to get a win in this game, or a draw. It obviously wasn't to be, and I can't really say that I'm surprised. I can't say that I didn't expect this, because what we saw is what United have been this season. We've been unorganized, unable to make simple, distribution passes, get the ball out from our defense, and give David De Gea the protection that he needs so that he doesn't need to be, a world-class keeper every single game. Edison barely had anything to do apart from the penalty, and, he brings down Lukaku, the penalty is given, Martial steps up, slots the ball away. That's probably, in that case, that could have been the start of something for United to go on and get a win or get the draw. I keep saying a draw because a draw would have been realistic and would have been satisfactory in the tie. Obviously, given the way that they've been playing, it was always going to be a difficult task to try and beat City at home when they're undefeated this season. Shans, besides the negatives, the positives, I don't think there's very many, but what can we do now going forward? We've obviously got Crystal Palace in the league. We've got young boys at home. What's the best we can hope for?
To recapture our form that we had before this game. I mean, we weren't shocking. We came into this game with a couple of wins, so we need to put this game behind us and take it for what it is. Like I say, it's us trying to find our feet and get some stability against a team that's just out and out fantastic. So we need to put it behind us, walk away from this one, go into these next few games, which optimistically we should win. We should win against the opposition we have coming up. So let's establish some form, gosh darn it, we need the wins. Our fight to be in the top 6 is well and truly on. And we need to get into that top 6 because next season, no matter which players we have, no matter which manager we have, we need to be playing Champions League football.
Yeah, yeah. And I think that now is going to be the catalyst for all the conversation in all the papers. If United can't lock in a top 4 spot and we don't have Champions League football next season, it's going to be a very, very big ask for whether Mourinho is going to be here next season. I think it's going to come down to, once it's mathematically impossible for us to qualify, and if we have any sort of stumble in the Champions League, there's going to be major questions asked. We already know what Mourinho's probably going to do, because if we make, obviously, the round of 16, provided we have a good performance against Young Boys and Valencia, and we make it through to the round of 16, I reckon he'll do exactly what he did when we were in the Europa League and pretty much phone in the Premier League and completely focus on the Champions League and getting a Champions League win. That's the best we can hope for at the moment. I'd hate to see us, drop out and go into the Europa League and then have to do that all over again, and be Arsenal. Pretty much, there's not much more we can say, but the remaining games for this season, obviously the 2 coming up, Crystal Palace and Young Boys, we need to try and get a result in both those games. As we said, we pretty much expected the result that came. The performance, unfortunately, was so dire that it makes it feel worse than it was. If it was a 1-0 loss, and we played well and we threatened as well, different story. But guys, Shan and I obviously picked our teams, and Shan's beat me on this one again. It looks like it's been pretty much 3 weeks in a row that Shan's pretty much pulled back a point per game, and he's closing that gap. So Shans, you're doing something right.
It's well and truly on, my friend.
It's on. Well, if there's no competition in the Premier League for us to win the title, it's between me and you now. So let's see how that finishes up. Guys, thanks for joining us. Please check us out on all our social media platforms. Please comment, subscribe, like, share, comment. And yeah, guys, we'll obviously be doing another preview. We'll be doing some other video content. Please stick around, and thanks for all your support. Shan, thanks for joining me on this one. And Shot,